Hi, welcome to another episode of Talk with Confidence. This is where we have inspirational conversations with inspirational people. Today, we have a truly inspirational guest in studio with us. His name is Mr. Klaas Moswane. He's an author, he's a pastor as well, and he is a leader. Mr. Klaas Moswane, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me again, sir.
Wonderful, yeah. So we had you on the show last time, and you were talking about the 3 previous books that you've written.
Yes.
And you mentioned in that interview that you were busy with a book. So in fact, you were pregnant.
I was pregnant. Now I've given birth.
Now you've given birth.
Yes.
And this is the book, When Scorpions Lead. Mr. Klaas Moswane, why did you write this book?
I wrote this book. First of all, I saw a scorpion as a metaphor of something deeper. Because remember, the Bible says the natural world reveals the spiritual world.
Yes, sir.
So most times when we look at the natural world, we see the spiritual world. The physical world can help us to reveal or to understand the spiritual world much deeper. And one of the reasons, because also when I was still young, I was bitten by a scorpion.
Wow, a real life scorpion.
A real life scorpion.
Okay.
And then all this time I've been thinking, but what can I use that thing to teach someone a lesson, or even to teach me something? And I began to search the scriptures. And when I went into the scriptures, I found the scripture in the book of Ezekiel that says, "You dwell among scorpions."
Wow.
And I said, wow, God is saying, "You dwell among scorpions," and He did not mean scorpions.
Literal scorpions.
Yeah, He meant people that behaved like scorpions. They
Wow.
had a nature of a scorpion. So I decided to go and write this book.
Wow. I mean, when one thinks of a scorpion, there are not many positives that come to mind.
In fact, when I read the scriptures, there's no even one scripture that I found that talk about scorpion in a positive way. Yeah, all of them were negative. To the point whereby even God when He referred to scorpions, He's comparing it with death.
Wow.
Like death, where is your sting?
Yeah.
Because a scorpion has a sting.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So all this time, and scorpion is also compared or is in the same league with the snake. Whenever God mentions a snake in the Bible, He's also mentioning a scorpion.
Yeah.
To show these are things that brings death and poison.
Okay. So let's dissect the scorpion a little bit. What are some of the metaphors that you used when you studied the scorpion?
Yeah. When I looked at a scorpion, the first thing that you cannot miss when you look at a scorpion is the sting. And the sting is something that brings pain, that brings discomfort to your body, and that's the sting carries the poison of the scorpion. And the reason I looked at a scorpion is because the scorpion is so fascinating. A snake, when you look at a snake, it uses the head to inflict pain, to attack, and to kill. But a scorpion does not use its head; it uses its tail. Yeah. The tail of a scorpion carries the poison, and the poison of a scorpion is not hemotoxin. It's a neurotoxin, which means it paralyzes your neural system.
Wow.
So when it stings you, you get paralyzed. Yes.
And I mean, when we talk of leadership, it's a very broad topic as well.
Yes.
But you identify that there are scorpionic leaders in our organizations, society in general, in the civic society world, in corporates, etc.
Yes.
Who is this book for? Is it for the scorpion leaders, or is it for those being led by the scorpions?
This book is for both. It's for scorpion leaders and those who have been led. It's for scorpion leaders. I'm trying to correct and bring correction to them.
Yes.
And I'm also trying to warn people against such leaders and how to deal with such traits. Yes. And then actually it's for everyone. This book is for, it's just that I titled it scorpions, because leaders are the ones who are more responsible
Yes.
to bring such cultures in organizations and in churches and in society. Yeah. But mostly it's just for everyone. It's just that I'm focusing more on the leaders because they are the responsible ones.
Wonderful. You spoke of traits. You used the word traits right now. What are some of the traits? I mean, I'm guessing that it aligns to the poison that you were talking about. So what are some of those poisonous traits that
Yes.
you've identified in the book?
Yeah, let me just go back a little bit. When you're looking at a scorpion, one thing that you notice is the tail, that what I said. And the tail, the reason I titled it When Scorpions Lead, because the scorpion uses the tail to defend itself or to inflict pain. And the tail speaks of the followers. So the tail speaks of those people that are following the scorpion leader. And the scorpion leader, it uses manipulation to maneuver their followers in order to attack other people or attack other leaders. So one of the traits of the scorpion leaders is manipulation. Another thing is control. Manipulation in this way. The scorpion holds its tail up high above its body. So when you are looking, when you are a follower, you will think this scorpion leader is uplifting you, or is exalting you, or is putting you before himself. But it's just it's just manipulation, and it's also for you to give you a spot, so that even when they're gonna look who did something wrong, they'll look at you, not at the scorpion leader. So he'll use you and put you in front, but in a manipulative form, in order to get to shy away and be in the background, and you are there, you are on the spotlight.
So they put you in front, not so much to empower you, but so that when the bullet comes, it hits you. Wow.
And one of the traits is control. Because the tail of a scorpion, the scorpion can do whatever he wants to do with the tail. So is the scorpion leader controlling the followers or controlling his subordinates? And the scorpion leader uses people like pawns. The game of chess. In the game of chess, the leader, the pawns, they protect. They protect the leader. They protect the leader. So the scorpion leader will use you as a pawn to protect himself. It's contrary to what Jesus is all about. Because Jesus is the king who's protecting his followers. But the scorpion leader wants you as a tail to sting for him,
to protect him,
to defend him. But we must follow the leadership of Jesus Christ. Jesus is the king who protects his followers.
Wow. I love the subtitle as well, Effective Remedies for Venomous Leadership. I mean, you're speaking about some of the negative traits, but what are some of the remedies that you mentioned in the book as well?
For example, when because when the scorpion, before the scorpion can start to inflict pain or defend itself, there are some things that causes the leader to do such things. One of them is unforgiveness. And then the remedy for unforgiveness is forgiveness. Because if you don't forgive, that unforgiveness will be bottled inside and it will turn into bitterness. And when it turns into bitterness, now you'll want to avenge yourself. And when you study the life of a scorpion is a very unforgiving animal. Because if you step on it, it will bite you. So there are those kind of people that you step on their toes, they'll bite you. Because they are unforgiving and they always want to avenge themselves. So first of all is to forgive. When you forgive as a person or as a leader, you are not doing that person a favor, but you're doing yourself a favor. Because you are letting go of a poisonous emotion that if you keep it in, it will harm you.
You're reminding me of the quote that said, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
So you need to let go and understand that when someone does something wrong to you, keeping that anger and unforgiveness in you is doing more harm to you than to that person. That person is even moving on with their lives, and they don't even know that they have hurt you. But then when you keep it for long, it becomes bitterness. It becomes bitterness, and bitterness is not good even for your health. And when it becomes bitterness, now it will turn into revenge. You'll want to avenge yourself. And the Bible says, God was saying to the Israelites, vengeance belongs to me, says the Lord. Vengeance belongs to me. So, one of the reasons vengeance belongs to God is because sometimes we misjudge the person's heart, or even when we're going to avenge ourselves, either we are going to do more damage or we are going to do less justice. So God is a great judge. So when he says vengeance belongs to me, he knows that he's going to give a measure of the vengeance that you need for that particular year. And
he has a greater view, a 360 view, whereas you might just be viewing it from your personal point of view, and it may not be the whole story.
It may not be the whole. Sometimes people, they hurt you unintentionally. The out of ignorance, sheer ignorance. And you, because of anger and all those things, you want to avenge yourself, and you're going to do more damage. So forgiveness, forgive. Don't avenge yourself. Let God avenge yourself. And then one of the remedies also is to because one of the negative poisons that scorpion leaders will compels them. What compels scorpion leaders is envy. It's one of those things. You compare yourself to other person, and you become envious of their success. And there's a difference between envy and jealousy.
What is it?
The difference between envy and jealousy. When you are jealous of something, because that thing belongs to you and you want to protect it from harm. And envy, you want what does not belong to you. So because you can't have it, you become angry and you become resentful of the person that has that thing. So jealousy, you want to protect it, like you protecting your wife. So if someone wants to flirt with your wife, someone wants to take your wife, you are jealous, you are guarding.
So jealousy has a positive connotation.
Has a positive connotation. That's why even the Bible says God is a jealous God. But no way in the Bible where God says
envious.
envious.
All right. So I mean, scorpion leaders, what are some of the things that causes a person? I mean, it's hard for me to imagine that somebody just wakes up and they are suddenly a scorpionic leader. What are some of the things that can cause a person, so that our viewers can be vigilant of things that might creep up and then cause them
to behave in a
scorpionic way? Exactly.
As I said, one of the things is unforgiveness, and it's an escalation of things. It doesn't just start. It starts somewhere. It comes as a seed, and then it grows, and then there's a lot of things and emotions that go with these things, like unforgiveness and bitterness, and then a vengeance. You want to avenge yourself. Then also there is a competition and envy, because when you are envious of something, only you're envious of someone, you are saying, Confidence, you don't deserve this time. I deserve it, and I'm going to fight you. Even though sometimes I can fight you using gossip, slander, because these are some of the things that are included in the book. There are tools that these people use. They're using gossip, slander, backbiting, speaking behind your back, so that I can tarnish your reputation, because I envy you. I envy you. So this envy is one of the things that can compel you to act as a scorpion leader.
There's a passage you wrote, I read. It said, if you think this book is for you, I mean, if you think this book is for somebody else, that's not true. It's probably for you. Why did you include that statement?
That's a part when I was talking about forgiveness, because I included a part where I say, no, you need to forgive, and this thing has to be personal. That's why the book is in your hand. It has to be personal, and then don't think this book must be read by someone else.
So you don't get this
Drink
book
the medicine. Drink the medicine.
You are the patient.
So probably if you think it's for someone, there's already scorpionic tendencies in you. So you need to look at yourself and then see, okay, where am I lacking? Where do I have these attributes of a scorpion in me, so that I can get well.
So this book is also quite introspective in its nature. It's not, because when you read a book like this, as you mentioned, when scorpions lead, and then you start going through, you start thinking of, oh, so and so has this trait, oh, so and so, and then you are blind to the fact that this is also a mirror for you. Yeah.
Because even me, when I was writing this book, there were some things that were challenging me. I say, I'll put my pen there, and then I'll think a bit and say, I must change. I know that trait is not good. I must change. And some of the people who wrote endorsement for me, I remember you also wrote the foreword for me.
Sir.
Yeah. And some of the people will come back to me and say, hey, Mr. Klaas, this book, it spoke to me. I also discovered some traits that I was not aware of. And then it helped me. I had to do introspection and change some of the traits. So, and one of the remedies also that you can use is, some people, as I said, they use slander and gossip and backbiting. They speak about people. So one of the remedies is get busy with something, work on something, work on a project, do labor, mental labor, community work, do something that keeps you busy. Because if you are just lazy and you're not doing anything, you're gonna start thinking of talking about people. The Bible call it idle talk. Idle talk. You are idle. So idle mind is a very dangerous weapon in the hands of the devil.
Because it's potential, but it's not being used.
It's not being used. So the enemy will take it and use it for his own kingdom.
There's a quote that you reminded me of. It says, only the one who is not rowing has time to rock the boat.
Yes.
So it's people who are not chasing after their dreams, who don't have things to occupy their lives and their minds, that begin gossiping and slandering other people.
And because they are not active in their lives, and work is something that was ordained by God. When God put man into the garden, He said, "Look after this garden." Even in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, God is encouraging us to work. He said, "You sluggard, go to the end and look." Go and look to the end. Go and look at the end, because the end is working, is diligent. So people who are not diligent, mostly they'll resort to gossiping about other people. They are pushing the scorpionic poison into society.
Wow.
So that's one of the that's one of the remedies. And also, when you're looking at the receiving end, if you are the one who's been victimized, what you do. That's what I'm also addressing in the book. What do you do when you are being slandered, when you are being attacked, when people are being manipulated to attack you? What do you do? You see. So one of the things is to carry on with your life. Don't let that disturb the tranquility of your mind. The truth will come out at the end. I like this saying. It says, falsehood has no legs, but truth always stands forever.
Wow. Beautiful.
So the truth will come out. If people are speaking better about you, they are tarnishing your image, your reputation. At the end of the day, stay true to your cause.
Wonderful. Speaking of work, this is your fourth book.
Yes.
How does that feel?
It feels good that I've written my fourth book. And it's actually, it's hard work. You work, you push yourself, and you set a target to say, okay, by this time I'll be finished writing this book. And I'm glad I wrote this book, because I believe this is one of the best books I've written.
Wow.
And although it is a hard pill to swallow, but it will help a lot of people. It will help a lot of, because this book deals with real emotions and real issues of the heart that most people are shunning away from. So we are addressing them in this book. Some people feel like it's a bit of a harsh book, but it's a medicine. It's a medicine.
Doesn't always taste good.
Doesn't always taste good.
But it will heal you.
But my intention and my heart even when you continue reading this book and you read to the end, you'll understand that I did not just write this book just for correction and to rebuke, but I wrote this thing to bring the grace of God and to bring the love of God and to bring healing. Remedies. That's why the subtitle is Remedies. So it's to bring the balm of Gilead to our wounds.
Wow.
And, yes.
Wow, wonderful. In terms of, when you write a book, there's always, something that goes along with the book in terms of, seminars that can come from. Will you be conducting such seminars, workshops, etc.?
Yes. We'll be doing that. Remember last year I had a seminar with you, a leadership seminar with you. I'm thinking of doing a couple of that this year. Yeah, we'll collaborate together. We'll do that together, and then on leadership and also on this book, because it's such a deep book.
And loaded.
It needs to be unloaded. It's a deep word. We need to have people and teach them and go chapter by chapter and going over it.
Wonderful.
And also so that people also can ask questions where they don't understand.
Get more clarity.
Get more clarity.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to that. And then, stepping away from the book a little bit,
Yes.
you're an author. There is somebody out there who wishes to be an author. What is your advice to that person?
My advice is get a topic. Get what is in your heart that you want to speak to the people out there. What is it out there that is bothering you that you want to solve? Yeah. Being an author is more like being an innovator or an inventor. What is bothering people, and what is the medicine what you feel like is a medicine that you have, and then you can write that book as a medicine or as a solution to those people out there. Because you don't just write for the sake of writing. Because Confidence wrote a book, I also want to write a book. So have a purpose. What is that book for? What is your target market? Who do you want to reach with your idea? And then begin to write that book. Begin to write it. Just start writing it.
I mean, and with your own journey, from where you started to where you are now and where you're going.
Yes.
The process. Can you just, in brief, just give us that process?
Yeah, I remember when I wrote my first book, it was such a joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that I wrote a book.
Yeah.
Those were the days of small beginnings. I wrote a small book. I titled it The Prophet's Chamber,
Yes.
Essential Qualities of a Prophet. Then the more you write is the more you realize you see the gift that you have and the potential that you have.
You are unearthing.
Yeah, you are unearthing, this gold that has been inside, now you are bringing it out. And the more you write is the more you realize that you can do this thing, and the more confidence you gain in writing. And in also, it's very important also to read books, listen to people, because that's where content comes from. Yeah, that's where now, when you are reading a book, you begin to see how to expound on a certain matter. You see, okay, Confidence wrote a book on confident approach. Okay, what is his approach? And then you see, okay, this is how he clarifies things. This is how he expound his things. This is how he brings his mind to display. Okay, now you're also doing your own thing. Not that you have to write like him, but find your own style and unearth what is in you. Yes.
Wonderful. Mr. Moswane, if people want to get hold of the book,
we have our books there by Scoops Theatre of Books in Monte Casino. Yeah, and then some of them they can catch me on my Facebook page, and then we can courier the book to you. Obviously, outside of Pretoria, we're gonna charge you 100 rand, 99 rand for postnet courier. Yeah, so. Don't be afraid to inbox me on Facebook. Ask me about it's 200. Yeah, then plus the courier fees will be 300. Yeah, so don't be afraid. Just catch me there.
Wonderful. Mr. Moswane, you're gonna be back on this show.
Yes.
Because I know even now you're pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
Just to tell you a little something, we had to cut for a little bit because one of his buttons decided that it's going to relieve itself. So the man is pregnant. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I know you'll be back
Yes.
with many more books.
Yes.
And thank you for being such an inspiration.
Thank you very much for giving me confidence.
Wonderful,
Thank you very much,
wonderful.
sir.
That was inspirational. That was Mr. Klaas Moswane. You've been watching Talk with Confidence with me, Confidence Sileme, right here on Global Conference Television. Eitada.